Welcome back to my channel. My name is Blair if you're new here, and today we're just going to do a quick catch up, talk about the holiday prep that we got going on. There's a few things that we're working with. First, I want to talk a little bit about Friendsgiving, and I have some stuff written on paper, some stuff's on my computer here, and I'll record the screen when we get to that part. But I have Friendsgiving coming up next weekend. So what I usually do is write out kind of like a to-do list. So I know exactly what I need to do. And I try to break it up throughout the week so I'm not overwhelmed and then leave the bulk of it for the weekend. But anything I can get done ahead of time, I try to do. So for Thanksgiving prep, Monday, I need to put away gifts, Christmas gifts. I have a bunch sitting on the spare bed and they need to be stored away because some of that stuff is for them, and my friends go in that room when they're here because it's right next to the guest bathroom. And then I also want to get the Thanksgiving decor out. There's only a couple things, like I have a rattan turkey and then maybe a banner, a sign, that kind of stuff. Wednesday, I want to set up Tuesday, I'm going to put the leaf in the table just to expand that. And maybe I'll do the setup of the table that day, but if not, it'll be a Wednesday project. Thursday night, and mind you, the reason I'm doing it broken in very small pieces is because I usually work a 9-hour shift. So I don't get off work till 6, and then I'm usually in bed by 7:30. So I don't have a lot of time in the evenings. But Thursday, I would like to get out any platters, dishes that need to be washed and prepped. And then I also bought a drink dispenser from IKEA. I think you guys saw it in my summer entertaining video. So I want to get that washed and ready to go so I can put water in it. Friday night, because I'm off Saturday, we're actually having Friendsgiving on Saturday this year. So after work on Friday, I need to run to Food Lion, the closest grocery store to me, grab any of the few items that I still need for cooking on Saturday. And then I'm going to prep as much of the meals that I'm making ahead of time. So things that I'll be prepping are like the green bean casserole. I mix it all up, put it in the dish. I just don't put the French fried onions on it until I'm ready to throw it in the oven. And then I got to make my no-bake pumpkin pie. I'm going to make a kind of like a cracker cheese dip situation that I can put out as an appetizer. And then also the night before, I always prep my seasonings for the turkey. I put them in a Ziploc bag. That way, when I go to put the turkey in the crock pot the next day, it's already prepped, and because you know your hands get dirty and I have gloves on and all this stuff. So that makes my life a little easier. Then on Saturday when I get up, I'll put the turkey in the crock pot. I'm doing a sweet, I think it's like a maple brown sugar baby carrot situation. That's going to go in my smaller crock pot. And then we'll have to look. I still haven't gandered at the recipe enough for the stuffing. So maybe we can prep that stuff early. I'm not sure if that's one of those things we'll have to make towards the end. And then in the meantime, we'll get out any silverware, set up the coffee, because we always have coffee after dinner with our dessert. And then, of course, any tidying. So, like, I know I need to check bathrooms, maybe run the vacuum on the floors, that kind of thing. So that would be my Thanksgiving prep. And that's what I'll be kind of working on towards the week. The next thing to talk about would be Christmas planning, because I haven't filmed anything about that. I have been doing a lot of Christmas planning, a lot of prepping for that stuff, but I'm going to take you over. I've shared this with you guys before. It's like my Christmas planning Google Doc that I created. This is the to-do list that I created, and I try to start this early in August because I've learned that some things are just better done ahead of time price-wise. So in August, I usually try to order Christmas cards, which I did not have to do this year because if you remember in last year, I actually bought a pack of cards that would give me enough to do this year. There was like 3 kinds I used last year and then 3 kinds I used this year. And then I also try to work out my budget. As you guys know, I've had kind of a rough year financially with so many random things popping up that costed me money. And I wasn't able to kind of like plan ahead with the money as much as I normally would. So it kind of became this thing where I threw all the money in as quick as I could towards the end. But I did cut my budget down quite a bit. Usually I have been trying to plan around $6,500. And this encompasses everything. I'm not going to show all of the details as I go through this because there's some things I don't want to share. But under my budget, I tried to aim for 1,000. I think I'm going to put another 100 in next week when I get paid because it looks like it's going to come out to about 1,100. Things for like stamps, cards. I put money on my Starbucks card so I can get the Christmas coffees. Baking ingredients, if there's any digital movies I want to buy from previous years, decor and gift wrap. If there's any clothing I want, like sweatshirts, t-shirts for the Christmas season. Gifts, obviously, and then I have to budget in shipping costs because all my family is in Michigan, and unfortunately I won't be able to be there because I just don't have that kind of time off work. So I always budget in the shipping costs to ship their gifts plus cookies that I bake ahead of time for them. And then I also put a buffer in my budget of at least $100 just in case something ends up costing more, need more. And sometimes shipping costs do cost more because obviously that's variant based on the weight of the package with the gifts. Unfortunately, I think one of my gifts might weigh a little bit more, so I may end up digging into that this year. I also put in candies and snacks, like there's special trail mixes I like to get at Target if there's any holiday candy, that kind of thing. Usually I have soaps and candles, and then I was hoping this year to be able to get into doing like an angel tree situation. Again, I can't really do that because I didn't get to hit my normal $1,500 budget, which would have allotted me that money. And I even cut out quite a bit, like the no cards. I don't think I'm going to be buying any movies. I'm not buying any clothes, no soaps or candles. And then even Christmas decor, I'm not sure I'm even going to buy any. The only thing I have spent for so far has been gift wrap because there were things I knew I needed. Now, I still have money in that budget, and I'm going to put in, like, I got to go to the Dollar Tree and get Tupperware to put cookies in because that's how I ship them home. So I go to the Dollar Tree and get them because it's just cheap, and then I don't care if they come back. And then also if in the process of decorating, when I get to that, there's any lights that have burned out, I have a little buffer to go get any lights I need. So that's my Christmas budget. September, I try to plan my baking, which again, I have a tab down here for baking. I put in the recipes that I plan to do. Some of these are tried and true. I do them every year, how many batches. And then I can kind of put in all the ingredients I need, totaled, what I actually need versus what I do still have in cupboard, and then the estimated cost. So I don't think this is going to be too much. As a matter of fact, I think it was going to be less than what this is anticipating right now. Then we also try to, that's all of September. So then we jump into October where I would order typically any decor. And the reason I do that in October is because you're still 2 months from the holiday season. So a lot of times the pricing, because I buy a lot of stuff on Amazon, is cheaper. If you wait until November, when I would typically decorate, well, everybody's buying that kind of stuff. And then the prices are way higher. So I've learned it's cheaper to buy certain things, like I said, in advance. I also normally try to have at least my shopping list, knowing what gifts I'm buying people, planned out in October. I was very good this year, and I actually got all my gifts bought in October. I think there's only like 2 items I still got to get, but those are things I got to wait until we get closer. And then pick up stamps, which I did. So we're in the month of November at this point. And normally, like I said, I start buying gifts. However, I already bought all of them, so I don't have to do that. Start baking. So I kind of make a game plan, and I try to do certain cookies on certain weekends. I always start in November, and I do anything that I can throw in the freezer so I don't have to cook everything in December. Also, I like to get my cards ready to be mailed. I literally fill them all out, stamp them, they're ready to go. I've bought my Christmas stamps. So I will, and I do have a tab for this. I'm not going to show it only because of the fact that there's addresses in there for people. But I do get them all ready before Thanksgiving. So usually a couple days after Thanksgiving, I can just put them in the mailbox. Because I know I have extra Christmas cards this year, I always forget. I pinned this thing. It was like an address to send Christmas cards to injured military or military away from their families. And I thought, well, that's a great idea. Like, I should pull out one of those extra Christmas cards and do that this year. That's something I can do if I can't do the angel tree. So I plan on doing that stuff here soon. And then, of course, usually my tradition is that on Thanksgiving, I start decorating for Christmas. I usually start on Thanksgiving where I tear down decorations clean. I do the outside lights, garland, trees, that kind of stuff. And then the day after, I actually do all the specific decor, you know, like the bulbs and plants and lights and all that stuff. So that'll happen in November. And then for December, we finish any cookie baking I haven't gotten to, which I think it's just one weekend worth that I'll do that. Also try to wrap any presents so they can be wrapped. I like to do this early as well because I like to put them under the tree to enjoy the way it looks. Because again, I ship my gifts home and that's pretty much everything under the tree other than the few things for the people that I see here. Which is another reason why baking, buying gifts, wrapping stuff, getting that stuff done ASAP is important to me. So when I'm ready to ship out those packages, everything is ready to go. I just got to put it in the box. So wrap presents, obviously ship gifts. And I try to do this a couple weeks before Christmas just to make sure they get there in time. But then I'm done. I can truly just enjoy the season, do what I want to do to the best of my ability. I do know that my church is doing like a winter wonderland. It's kind of like a parking lot party, but they have like vendors, food trucks, there's like inflatables. They had an outdoor skating rink. They sing carols. It's just a way to get the neighborhood to kind of come. Because again, it's like in a parking lot and people will show up. It's a chance for them to hear about God and Jesus. And I did it the first year they introduced the party, like where I volunteered, and it was a lot of fun. And this year I get to do that again because my job actually gave us volunteer hours that we can take a day off. So I'll be looking forward to doing that this year. So that'll be one thing. And then I'm hoping they do the Christmas Eve candlelight service because that's my favorite. And we'll get to do that. So I know this is a long video, a lot of rambling. I just wanted to give you guys a little holiday prepping, what I'm doing update because I haven't been filming my consistent videos like I typically do. But now you know how this week's gonna go with Thanksgiving or Friendsgiving because unfortunately I don't really do Thanksgiving. But for now, that is Friendsgiving, Christmas planning, and everything I'll be doing. So hopefully it give you an idea. Maybe it motivates you to get started sooner than later. And as always, I hope everyone has a blessed day.